Kia ora everyone. Welcome in, tuning in. Those of you tuning in, kia ora, welcome, hello. My name is Aotearoa, and this is Mystic Monkey. I am the Mystic Monkey. And tonight I have been guided to do a reading on something that which wouldn't ordinarily be on my radar or of my to-do list of things to do, but Spirit's guided me towards this path, and it's not the typical reading I would normally do, but I've sat with it, I've meditated with it, and I'll be doing I've pulled some cards about the current state of energy in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So what's happening in New Zealand at the moment? I believe it is the 15th of June 2022. I'll put all that information in the description. And I've pulled some cards which I believe Spirit have made me pull cards regarding the planetary state or position, planetary energies regarding Aotearoa, New Zealand, the spiritual energies regarding Aotearoa, New Zealand, which I believe will tap into some of the chakra points. Excuse me. And then I've been guided to pull a few more cards about the political state of Aotearoa, New Zealand. And I didn't think my channel would be about this, but Spirit have other ideas, obviously, and I'm happy to go along with it and see what information or what messages come through and what the collective need to hear about this. So Aotearoa, New Zealand. Just a little note here, I have no idea about what's happening currently in New Zealand in terms of the political climate. I'm aware, obviously I'm from New Zealand, I'm from Aotearoa, so, but I have no knowledge whatsoever about what's happening in the political climate of New Zealand. I have no knowledge of any of the current events, affairs, strategies, systems. Or the only awareness I have is that we have been in a state of lockdown, fully aware of that, fully aware of the vaccine mandates that were implemented, and that was probably the last time I actually briefed myself on the current affairs and state of New Zealand. So that was quite a few months back, and I have no idea. I don't watch news, I have no idea what's happening in the news, I just don't tune into that. So whatever comes through here will be really interesting for me as well. So I've already sat and meditated and I've got the cards, so let's get straight into it. Stop rambling. The top row, I believe, we'll just get into it. So what's happening in New Zealand? We have the Six of Flames, the Seven of Flames, the Nine of Crystals, okay, the Nine of Crystals, Ascension, wow. And I will try and lift these cards as I'm reading them. The Six of Crystals, which I believe is Pentacles, and then we have Abundance, okay. So straight away off the bat, I'm getting an innovation thing here for New Zealand, I feel like we're needing to be a lot more independent globally. This is where our strength is as an economy. I just got, as an economy, this is our strength, is to be independent. So innovation, small business, this is where we'll find our strengths, is in independence. So less reliant on the global economy and global links and connections, and more of a self-sufficient mindset. So a focus on small business is what I'm getting here. Interesting. Not what I thought this would be about, but Spirit's telling me that the future of our economy is actually in the innovators and the small people having autonomy and control over their own systems and ventures, business ventures. This will be the key to our development and future enterprise. This will also be how we'll be recognized globally. This will also be, there's a need to defend our own resources and to defend our own autonomy. But a real focus here is on the economy and business strategies and where we're headed. I see there's a fairness within our psyche that will be a template for future business globally, will be a template for future, will be a template that will be mirrored and recognized as a fair business practice that acknowledges the little man, that has where the profits trickle down. So the profits, I'm seeing a pyramid, the profits are no longer contained within the upper echelon of this pyramid, where the profits of any business come down and there's an equal give and take and sharing of resources. So part of that strategy in terms of Spirit and where Spirit is leading Aotearoa and the economy is to invest in small businesses. So this will see a rise in employment and a sharing of resources, and this template that will be, some of us, it's already within the psyche of New Zealanders, is this fairness aspect. So part of this template that's been implemented is actually divinely guided. Number 8 wire, innovation. It's divinely guided as it will be used as a global template for the rest of the world economy. So I think we're seeing there'll be a shift, a financial shift and reset, and the template that is developed here in Aotearoa, New Zealand will be one that will be used globally. So we will be at the forefront of this. This is a less dog, it's more of a feminine reciprocity template. So we could also see bartering, we could also see services, an exchange of services that may be implemented. This is divinely guided. We're seeing the economy will be reset in some way, shape, or form globally, and New Zealand will be a guiding force or light in the events that will take place in terms of how to undergo or carry out commerce and business in the future. There's also part of that will involve severing ties with current world trade dynamic, I'll call it. This is not my specialty area, but we'll see a shift, and there's a need to defend our own autonomy, as I keep hearing that. There is a need to remain isolated in some respects, to be self-reliant, to work within our own resources and means, and to develop strategies that enable us to be self-reliant and self-sufficient. So there are some ties there with global superpowers that will need to be, we'll need to peel back from those, from that reliance on these big global economies. Seeing the owl here, there's things that will be revealed about these. I'm hearing trade partners that will need to be, we will need to revisit those obligations or contracts or agreements will need to be revisited based on some of the information that will come out about these countries that we are involved with, that will not be in alignment with our core values. So I'm saying the core values here of New Zealand are quite in alignment with where the divine plan is, and there's a sense of fairness about New Zealanders that makes us a clean or clear location or area on the planet to actually begin things, because of this basic value system that we have here. It enables higher vision and higher vision to be implemented within this space, within this region, because of our basic core values as a country. So I am seeing here, which is quite interesting, that part of our ascension as a country or as a planet, because the global economy has such an impact on our day-to-day livelihoods and living globally, that part, the meek shall inherit the earth. I'm hearing that part of our ascension how we conduct ourselves in a business sense, in an economic sense, in a monetary, how we operate on these levels will be a catalyst for, is very deeply woven and intertwined, woven with planetary ascension. So once people's livelihoods are taken care of, acknowledged, it's a basic survival mechanisms are in place and are no longer a concern or factor. This allows a spiritual alleviation. There's things are being alleviated through this, or on the other side of the coin, through this financial shift. It alleviates the burdens and pressures that impact on spiritual development and higher learning and ascension. So part of the template that will be initiated here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, will be used globally, like I've said, but this is entwined with the ascension, a global ascension of the planet as a whole. And there is abundance. Once this abundance has been attained, it makes connection to source and higher goals, achievements, and planetary alignment a lot easier, is what I'm hearing. So there's a need for independence for New Zealand, Aotearoa. There's a need to defend our values, to not compromise on the basic tenets that we our core values, and part of that simplicity and will be a vehicle for a shift in how business and commerce is conducted globally. So that's what I'm getting from that. And I feel Spirit is wanting to provide abundance for the whole planet. Spirit no longer wants this pyramid to be sort of stuck at the top. Spirit's wanting this to be completely reset. So how we conduct ourselves here in Aotearoa, New Zealand is actually very, very big. It's very, will have a ripple on effect for the rest of the planet. So that's really fascinating. That's really, 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 really amazing. Okay. Moving on. What is the. We'll go to these cards. Suffering and silence. Harmony. Passion ignited. Okay. I think the message here that Spirit's wanting to get through in these three cards here is that there is on an emotional level for New Zealand. This for me is addressing there's a tendency to, we've got suffering and silence, there's a tendency to suffering and silence. I feel like this is addressing the shall be right attitude that we have here in Aotearoa, where we may suffer more than what is necessary. We may suffer more than what Spirit's wanting us to move more center into a heart space energy. So more of a heart space energy here, and to be a bit more passionate as a people, passion ignited. So to have a bit more fire in the belly, I think is the message here. If you look at this, there's a bit more fire in the belly. I think this whole she'll be right attitude is not conducive to where we're actually heading as a collective, or where we are going to be situated or placed in the future as a country. So it's moving away from this suffering and silence energy where we either sweep things under the rug or don't acknowledge our own needs. There can be a tendency to rough it out and to suffer way more than what's actually necessary, and not kick up a fit about it. So the conditions that we're living in may not be optimal, but I'm talking about as a collective of people, the people. the ordinary average people. The conditions may not be optimal, but instead of acknowledging our own limitations and our own suffering, there's a tendency to dismiss, disregard, belittle, demean any I don't know, there's this, it's not tall poppy, but there's a tendency to not acknowledge where our needs are not being met. So instead of addressing and righting wrongs, these things tend to go unnoticed or unacknowledged. They just tend to simmer under the surface without being directly dealt to. I think Spirit's wanting more of a heart center involvement, engagement, less of a mental energy. The nine is traditionally the Nine of Swords, so it's about moving away from this mental energy where emotions and feelings are not acknowledged, to acknowledging and recognizing the heart-centeredness in all beings, in all. It's about engaging in a heart-centered connection, which will in turn ignite this passion. So I feel like whatever's coming up in the future, Spirit's wanting a bit more of the message is to come from a place of emotive, be a bit more emotive, and wear the heart on the sleeve a little bit more and fight a bit more. I feel we do have the Seven of Flames here, so that can speak of fire. That's fire as well, and the Six of Flames, but moving into being a bit more passionate, less anxious, and almost compliant or depressive, and more heart-centered is what I'm getting here. So let's move on to the political situation, what I believe is the political situation in New Zealand. Wow, we've got the Queen of Swords, we've got the King of Swords, we've got the Knight of Swords. Wow. We have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And we have the Fool. Whoa, I just have to sit with this energy for a minute. The political situation is strife. There is strife on board the ship here. The battle of egos. Queen of Swords, King of Swords, Knight of Swords, Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And the Fool. Strife on board. Battles. Strategy. mental gymnastics. Mental gymnastics. Political situation. Wow. Queen of Swords, I feel, could be our head of state here. Our Queen of Swords could be Our Lady, Miss Jacinda. King of Swords, I'm not sure who's in the opposition now or what's going on there, but there is a royal battle royale going on politically for New Zealand. There's some young rogue energies coming in here too that are wanting to prove a point and dethrone. There's some rogue energies that are wanting to dethrone this king and queen, take over the mantle, and they are fighters. The queen can see it coming. The king is a little bit oblivious. Not oblivious, just a little bit not looking. The king is not looking. So I don't know what the current political climate is because I don't actually watch the news, but this is what Spirit is showing me. There is a young rogue element or a younger energy that's coming in that's got something to say, that yeah, there is big picture thinking here. Both this king and queen are very much of the intellect. It's a game of chess, very very intellectually driven. This is a mental battle. This is a mental game. And they're all sort of equal in some way. They've all come out together. It will be a battle of who can keep their head. Dethroned, I just heard dethroned. 10 of Pentacles reversed. Legacy in reverse. Something to do with someone's legacy being reversed. Someone's legacy being reversed. We have the Fool. Which indicates there will be a new beginning. There'll be a new beginning. Things will reset and start again. So that's what I see there. Quite interesting. Moving on to the Starseed Oracle. We have Earth School, life lessons, soul growth, study, higher learning. Wow. Earth School. This is going back to the planetary energies. Some of us who have chose to incarnate on this planet in this specific location are being called to now. This location, this part of the planet, this zone, this place, this sector, this country will be pivotal. The souls that have chosen to be born in this part of the planet, in this part of the world, are being called to acknowledge, recognize, and wake up. Earth School. We're about to graduate, but we've got to there's a lot of work to do. There's work to do. We have, deep cellular healing, Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing. Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing. So there's a cleanse, there's a purge, there's a cleansing that is going on here. Which comes back to the suffering and silence energy. Moving away out of this, clearing this energy out. The suffering energy. Deep healing, inner wounds. Healing these inner wounds. Acknowledging the heart space, the heart center. Coming from a place of heart. Moving away from this collective trauma. Which goes back. We know that. I won't go into all that, but deep cellular healing. So this is a human aspect of ourselves. Acknowledging the human aspects of ourselves on this earth school. The human aspect. Healing our traumas. Coming back to this, moving into this heart space harmony, which is traditionally the lovers. Operating from the heart space, Right, last card, guys. We've got big picture thinking, Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. Wow. Yeah, you can see that. The message that's come through tonight is all about this big picture. So acknowledging and recognizing the place that New Zealand, the position that Aotearoa has, acknowledging where New Zealand will sit in the future. Big picture thinking. So part of our collective mission and part of our global position will be an innovative one, will be a template for future generations and how we conduct ourselves. Sort of like a clean slate. It's like a very clear palette. New Zealand provides a clear palette to paint or draw this new bright future because of our core values are already in alignment with spirit and higher beings and higher ideals at a very base level. We are quite close to those visions in terms of how we conduct ourselves as a collective. Not perfect, but in a global sense, quite close to part of the vision that divine plan and divine orchestrators have for not only Aotearoa but for this planet. Higher wisdom, higher truth. Pleiades energy, talking about higher wisdom, higher truth, Pleiades energy. So we know that Pleiades has a very deep and ancient connection to Earth, to the Earth school. Part of our guidance, our guardians in a sense. So the downloads are coming through for people, inspired ideas, visionary, which is all leading to our ascension as a planet. So politically there's games happening, maneuvers. But it's all small child's play really compared to it's to be seen and acknowledged, but these are like the pawns. These are the small pieces in this game. And this is a huge global, I feel, economic reset will take place. And part of that division for New Zealand will be quite grand in how we operate and conduct ourselves. Will be seen as as I've said, template for future business and economy, global economy. So that's what I got from this reading, and I am sort of just wowed, just as wowed. I don't know if you're wowed, but I'm pretty wowed by what messages have come through tonight, and if this was something that you I have no idea about what's happening in the world in terms of the news of New Zealand. I don't watch the news very rarely, tune in or acknowledge anything to do with the news. So if you have any insights from this reading that you want to share based on what's actually happening in the political climate, I would love to hear from you. Please comment below. Comment, please. And I hope this was of benefit, and I hope that this reading helps. Has helped someone in some way, shape, or form. Helps to guide the collective. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Kia ora, ka kite.